Spicy? Oh god, this video might actually be a little spicy. I'm not just a cheerleader in Endwalker, I am that cheerleader in Endwalker, and I ain't about to apologize for it. I am gonna put on that pink skirt, the boots with the fur, and buff the absolute heck out of my party. Honestly though, guys, I feel like lately these days I've been way too serious with my videos, and I'm just reaching back to my roots, and I want to give my honest thoughts on ranged physical DPS and be like full-on ridiculous. As anyone who has watched my video footage knows, heaven knows I have been playing a ton of ranged DPS and dying a ton on them this expansion, and so I have a metric ton of thoughts and opinions on them and their changes in Endwalker. While this video is later than I wanted to do, I want to really let the changes marinate in my mind before I commented and just did a knee-jerk reaction like you see all over the place, where some people are even commenting about the dancer and it's just like, oh, you didn't realize that applied a heal over time and wasn't like something that you needed to maintain. Sus. You just need to let it marinate. You know, like just put a little bit of sauce on that meat and then just rub it into the meat. You know, it might be fall, but you are not taking away my darn barbecue just yet. For real, with ranged physical DPS, there have been a ton of changes that are amazing. I am so in love with them, but others are really truly not what I had in mind for the job, and that's why I really needed to take some time and actually go over them and think about it. It's kind of like how I like pineapples on my pizza, but my boyfriend laments about my life choices about pizza. Some things are just for me, some others will not like them. Some people will love things that I don't really like. The structure of this is I'm just going to be doing a very brief change roundup summary and then dive into my thoughts. We're starting off with the Machinist, where the Machinist is getting a spread shot glow up that gives a little bit more heat gauge. That'll be nice in an AoE. I'm not going crazy for it. Our big Omnic Butler Bob gets an additional new finisher, but it really isn't technically your skill. This doesn't replace Pile Bunker for the record. This is just something more on top of it. You can see that from the trait tooltip. Bob doing more actions, I will never complain about that. Next up we get 2 reassemble charges, which honestly changes the opener just a tiny bit, but at 55-second recharge it really only changes the opener. Any machinists that have read my Machinist Ultimate Guide knows exactly what I mean here. It's not gonna really change from there. Then get a brand new skill called Chainsaw that hits as hard as a drill but does also give more battery, and so more battery, more Bob. That's awesome. Okay, so now for my thoughts on the Machinist. So the Machinist is perfect, the Machinist is beautiful, the Machinist is a model. It could walk out onto the battlefield in a diaper and I'd still say that its kit and rotation is beautiful. Valentina, your smile is beautiful. There's almost nothing that I would want changed with the Machinist if I'm being super honest. From top to bottom, I'm extraordinarily happy with it. It has a solid reward structure, it has a very fun like life cycle where it's just like Heat Blast is very fast, then you go through slower phases, and it's just the spike damage, reassembled, no drill, no jutsu. Like, I made a short on that and you know what, I love it. So it's hilariously easy to say that even with all of these quote-unquote very minimal changes, it is going to be a blast to play the Machinist, and it didn't really need changes. So seeing these very minor improvements, aka more Bob out onto the field and more Bob actions, is kind of really all that I could hope for. Maybe the next thing for the Machinist is to let me ride Bob like a Gundam, like just hop into like the cockpit of the Gundam and just go ham, or just generally speaking being able to use a Gundam in general. Like, I don't know what else is coming for the Machinist, but that would be a cool idea. So our new combo is also interesting on the Machinist, and it's not gameplay changing, but it's flat out interesting because our big Omnic Butler will do another blast of damage on their own, look a bit more badass. You know what, I love it. So I'm fully satisfied with the Machinist. May the pew pew and robotic onslaught never end. Amazing. And now it's Bard's time to shine, and oh boy, in Endwalker are they ever shining. I feel like an actual cheerleader when I look at the Bard's skills already. Ooh, boy, that's a lot of party damage buffs. The changes are that Bard songs now have a 2-minute cooldown and they last 45 seconds. Battle voice cooldown has been lowered from 180 to 120 seconds, which is, for the record, amazing. Yes, the duration was cut down by a quarter. I get that, guys. There was definitely compensation nerfs, but this is letting you line up better with the raid buff window. It's what, 20 seconds? The extra 5 technically is going to be outside the raid buff window, so were you really gaining all that much more? The really good thing about the raid buff window is just a multiplicative, like, stacking effect of like, okay, you have Battle Lenny, and then you have this, then you have the damage amp, and this other damage amp, and boom. The next change is a huge one, which is Bloodletter can stack up to 2 charges. I don't care what anyone says, I will take it, I love it, I love it. This was probably the one frustration I had on the like Bard in like raid that actually really frustrated me. I love it. Apex Arrow gets a new pretty skin, Quick Knock gets a new pretty skin. Now for something that is actually very, very exciting to me, which I definitely asked for the Bard, was it gets a new area effect buff called Radiant Finale, which I suspect will really be a 2-minute cooldown. How to describe Radiant Finale? It is a tremendously huge buff, to say the least, for the Bard. For the Bard, which I know, I know that this will make people unhappy when I say it, because I actually love it. I, outside of Heavensward, have always loved the Bard inside out. I know a lot of people in Heavensward loved it. I'm not trying to like yuck your yum or whatever they call it. For me, it wasn't for me during Heavensward, but every other patch, like Realm Reborn, loved Bard. We're talking Stormblood, loved Bard. Shadowbringers, playing Bard right now on the screen, I'm pretty sure, in E12S. Just now with this addition and the changes to it is one of the most exciting jobs to me. When I think Bard, I think I want to bathe the field in buffs. I want to be singing the songs and inspire my allies, and I am being able to deliver this fantasy to my team in Endwalker. And this kind of gets into like a little bit of like player psychology stuff, which is actually a pretty interesting topic if anyone's like read up on it, what is the biggest challenge to really clearing content as a static? And it's morale. Morale is the absolute #1 de facto freaking factor in clearing. You don't even need to like open up psychological literature to know that though. And I'm kind of at the point where it's just like, I know people will disagree. They'll be like, my orange purse. But you know what? My experience has always been keep your static happy. It doesn't matter who you have on your team or their track record. If they aren't happy, they aren't happy. Look to today, we are lathering the field in a basic buff, and then we can kick it into overdrive with a significantly lower cooldown on battle voice. And that is from 180 to 120 seconds. It lines up nicely with raid buff windows like allies like Chain Stratagem, Divination, Battle Litany. Extremely high impact to say the least. It was in the first place, but now that it's just more accessible, and I'm happy. I'm just very happy with that. Now to like kind of suss out some of the other details, because I know people will unfortunately be mad that I'm not ripping apart the Bard, because that seems to be really popular in many circles online. I love the Bard in its current form. I enjoy its rotation. I enjoy the life cycle changes to its rotation. Wander's Minuet to Mage's Ballad to Army's Paeon changes up the style a lot, and I love that. I always have. It's complimenting this even in Stormblood, but I didn't have a YouTube channel until like a year or whatever ago, so obviously you wouldn't know that. Like with the Bard, there's just so much going on with the kit that I feel engaged. I just simply feel engaged when I play the Bard. For me, above anything else, when I am playing a game, I absolutely must feel engaged. If I don't have that, you lose me. And unfortunately, I can't always say that about every job in 14. Bard, however, definitely gets my attention. I can say that for sure. And so the major quality of life change was stacking 2 charges of blood leather. Like a lot of people just like rolled their eyes at that, like what a small change, but it is so amazing to me because that was one of my major gripes with the Bard, and it's resolved. So I can officially shut my mouth. I got what I wanted. So like, would I like to change Warden's PN? No. This is like, I didn't watch media tour footage because I am like explicitly scared of the spoilers and I don't want the dungeon spoiled or whatever, but just going off the tooltips, based upon what I'm hearing in like larger meta conversations, is there seems to be a lot more healing going on. Well, I guess obviously from the tooltips, like Paladin's a walking white mage basically at this point. Like we just are probably going to see an uptick of debuffs. I would be shocked with them trying to make the content a little harder if we didn't see an uptick of debuffs. So I would genuinely hate to lose such a unique ability in 14, especially when we are going into a brand new expansion that's likely to have its own tricks up its sleeve. We haven't seen enough Endwalker content to say that this is useless yet. Even currently, you cannot tell me it's useless, because it's nice for stuff like E8S Shiva Savage dispelling the debuffs. Like, I mean, you can free up a healer from that kind of burden. Or for me, I think even like Evilise raids, the one horse dude when I get rooted dispelling myself feels amazing. And don't lie to me, that cannot possibly just be me. Now looking at Nature's Minet, this is a 20% healing boost and has always been extremely powerful for barrier synergies. It has always been good on picking up tanks if you don't have like Benediction. Also with the amount of tank self-sustain and the rest, there is going to be an undeniable bigger boost from this. This is going to see a lot more traction, I believe, just because Endwalker, the demand for healing just seems to be higher, and you know what? That is nice to just throw out there. Costs me as a bard nothing. It's just like, even when we're talking like E8S, technically the healer needs to cast Asuna on the GCD. You save them technically 1 GCD if you like plan it out. It can be worth it. Do many groups do it? No, but a lot of groups just haven't run a bard. Last but certainly not least, because nobody puts the dancing baby in the corner, is the dancer. And so Dancer's improvisation, I should say that better. Dancer's improvisation is no longer a healing amplification, but instead a slow trickle of 100 potency of healing over 15 seconds for a total of 5/6. That's going to be 500 potency of healing. So recall that Curing Waltz stacks for 600 potency of healing on itself. So that all combines together, from improvisation's hot as well as Curing Waltz's burst heal to the dancer can produce 1100 potency of healing in an AoE with a 5% barrier on top, which is pretty amazing for any DPS, for real though, and that's all free and off the GCD. Say what? Kind of spilled the beans on this one already, but improvisation, the dancer can apply barrier to party members based on their max HP, most likely only a 5% barrier, and is on a 2-minute cooldown, which is long, but also not so long because the standard raid fight can go like 8 minutes, so that's about 4 chances to unleash this glorious combo. And yes, the healers will totally notice that. There is a brand new fan dance being added for the dancer that is just more damage really. Whether this is a DPS increase or not will depend on how the numbers all shake out for Endwalker launch. I'm pretty sure it obviously will be a DPS increase, but like how much I mean. There's a new ability called Tilana, I think it's saying it right, Tilana, that's pretty much allowing you to cheese out standard step immediately after using technical finish. Whether this is a DPS or increase or not, again, depends on Endwalker final potency values, we'll have to see. This is actually the one that's more in question. The other one is almost definitely a DPS increase. We'll have to see if just casting normal standard step is higher DPS or not. The numbers will show soon. And the dancer is getting a new burst ability, a finisher called Starfall Dance, letting them execute a big burst once every 2 minutes. So my thoughts on the dancer is I am pretty pleased with the addition of more party utility. The healing and barrier will be noticed. It's not game breaking. It's not like you're gonna kick out your machinist for the dancer for this, but it is solid. Someone who plans to like main healer going into Dragonsong War Ultimate, like I will see this and I will be like, thank you. But the turnaround is here. With the dancer, my feeling is just, and I hope people can forgive me for this, I'm trying to be as honest as I can be, I'm thinking, why are we getting more pure DPS skills? People will call me out on it for sure, but just I don't get why. When I think of the dancer, I think like the premier buffing class, the way to truly simp for your party member to make your team feel really good, and especially one member who should feel very, very buffed. I guess they're literally being buffed. As much as people want to talk about this or that, do you know what the biggest raid boost really is? Because I said it in the bard. Morale, and people love being buffed even if it's for just a slight amount. It's like it sets a fire on them and they're just like rah rah rah, I got a buff, time to go ham. And really for the dancer, I thought in Endwalker it would evolve to have more buffs, and it still undeniably has a ton because right now it has a ton and they're not losing any. But right now, when I think like what can I play to raise the morale of the team, the bard just isn't winning. It is, I mean, the dancer isn't winning. Actually, the bard is winning, flat out winning on that aspect. Lowered cooldown of battle voice means it up more often. The new radiant finale buff is fantastic. The constant bathing of the entire party that was an AoE buff has been solid. So that being said, I feel, and yeah, I'm talking about the bard and the dancer, I know guys, but like that's what I need to like be honest, is I've looked at them all. And like, if I'm being honest, I feel like I'm being pushed away from the dancer and pulled towards bard. I think those that are already big fans of the dancer, fans, how very punny, the big fans of the dancer will love it. But for me, I feel like I just want to be the cheerleader of the group, and for me that's bard and Endwalker for sure. Anyhow, that really wraps it up for this video. So what are your guys' thoughts? Remember that I'm just some random dude speaking my mind and I'm just genuinely curious how like everyone else feels. Maybe you're just like, oh, I think the dancer's still gonna have more buffs than bard, or I'm just really curious what you have to say. Anyhow, that is really all for this video. I hope that everyone has an absolutely glorious day. Meow. I gotta do the meow. People want the meow.